Hello my fellow pilots and welcome again to another episode of Star Citizen FM, episode 64. Star Citizen FM is the longest running fan show in the verse determined to bringing you up-to-date information on the community, Star Citizen, and anything else in the verse that might catch your fancy. Star Citizen FM is hosted by yours truly, Dr. Hawk, so join me as we go over some of the highlights of this week. The first article that I'd like to talk about today is the Arena Commander multiplayer rollout. Now I know there's a lot of citizens out there that have been eagerly chomping at the bit to get their hands on their own ships and fly out into the big blue yonder and shoot at other citizens, namely myself. I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere on somebody's target list. Well, if you're anywhere within the 200,000 citizen number, so if your citizen is 1 to 200,000, or anywhere in between, you will now have access to the Arena Commander multiplayer module. Congratulations! That is if you get in. Currently, being that CIG decided to pull a CIG, us Star Citizens in our traditional history have managed to, drumroll, crash the servers. Repeatedly. While some people are able to connect to the Team Deathmatch module that was added in the latest patch that I will be going over, trying to connect to an actual match of Arena Commander is almost impossible, or at least for myself at the moment. Some people have been able to get in, while others are reporting difficulty even logging in. There are some multiplayer tips and tricks that citizens have been offering on the forums as a method to try to get into Arena Commander, but unfortunately, through my own efforts, I haven't noticed any efficient outcome out of these methods. So, to those of you who have been installing and reinstalling your client, unfortunately that's not going to do much. Now, talking to some of the devs on Chatroll has revealed that they are working hard on the issue right now and are trying to get the servers up to speed, as this is currently intended as a stress test. And I quote from the comlink, "We launched patch 12.4 last night. This update brings a couple of new additions to the table. First off, as I'm sure many of you will be glad to hear, we're rolling multiplayer out to everyone up to 200,000 in this update. A big thank you to everyone who has helped us by playing the game. We hope you've been having fun too. Now that the patch is settled, we've enabled multiplayer for all backers through Citizen 200,000 and up. Please help us stress test the server as we move towards open multiplayer for all backers." Seeing that this floodgate method is intended to stress test the servers before they actually break on, say, release, the best thing we can do is sit down, be patient, and jump into Vandal Swarm and make sure that our skills are up to par for when the multiplayer is more stable. I know there's a lot of you out there that want to be shooting me right now, but you're going to have to wait. Until then, let us go over some of the patch notes for Arena Commander so you can know what has changed and what has not, and what is still broken. So with the release of patch 12.4, we have various fixes, changes, and new bugs. 99 bugs on the wall, take one down, patch it around, 127 bugs on the wall. Such is the nature of programming, unfortunately. But here are our fixes. Players are now able to connect to Broken Moon. Performance improvements when targeting enemies in single player. Chain gun firing sounds and animations no longer cut out. Matchmaking and server stability improved. Of these points include reduced rotational and positional errors of players in multiplayer. This is the infamous spinning that you see in multiplayer, as with some of my matches. Resolved issue with players returning to hangar in the middle of matches. Bandwidth optimization improvements. Session token authorization added, improved sync between instance manager and matchmaker, and improved matchmaking queue functionality. Some of the crash fixes include attempting to zone into a multiplayer match fixed, choosing return to hangar is crushed, during multiplayer matches, stability for the win, no longer crashes when round ends. After running out of map border, you die, but you don't crash. Well, your ship crashes and explodes, but the game doesn't crash or explode. You can now alt-tab to the loading screen, on the loading screen without crashing. Sounds no longer stutter on missile lock sounds. Freelancer model no longer flickering. Missing textures on the calendar are found, as well as animation issues fixed. Balancing has been added as well. Ballistic weapons, if you check your hangar upon loading up your ship, now have their appropriate ammo boxes. You unfortunately cannot use unlimited ammo on your Klaus and Werner mass drivers or broadsword weapons. Additional features include shield indicators added to the ship model on HUD, added control mapping for the G9040 HOTAS, improved weapon fire sounds that have more guts and punch. Some of you, if you've tried different weapons, will notice that this has changed. The whoosh of other ships flying by close to your position, the whiz of other players' ordnance as they fire at you, new explosions, and improved sound mix. Unfortunately, we now still have more known bugs and issues. The 300i's right landing gear is offset from the ship. Some of you with the 300i will notice this when you go to dock on your ship. Rather than being inside, it's slightly to the right and below of your ship. It, as far as I know, doesn't count as a hitbox in multiplayer, but I have not confirmed that. Firing range no longer aims after entering a second time. Higher latency connections can experience the following issues, so if you're across the pond, you might want to take note. Your IFCS issues causing the ship to fly erratically or very slowly. Characters standing in the cockpit or offset from the seat or in controls. If this happens, reset the client. And character experiencing an extreme head shake. This again can be fixed by resetting your client. Other issues are matchmaking can show stuck in queue and may require another attempt. So for example, if you log in to find a match and you notice nothing happening, just end that search and search again to find another match. You can be kicked back to the hangar on connection attempt. Sometimes the helmet turns invisible. This is infamous, it's been around for a bit, and they are continuing to work with AMD, Nvidia, and Crytek to work on crossfire and SLI issues and improve multiple GPU performance. Those are our patch notes for 12.4 for, I believe this was released on July 2nd, 2014. That's not all that happened, as on July 4th, Happy Independence Day, by the way, to my fellow Americans, CIG released a very interesting tidbit. For those of you that are pirates or aspire to have your very own Asteroid hangar, we now have video of the Asteroid hangar. In the short 4-minute video, Mark Skeleton and Eric Peterson walk us through what progress they have made from conception of the Asteroid hangar to a final release with some, I dare say, snazzy looking textures and lighting. That seems to be the issue right now, as they're trying to work out how to effectively light your ships, as the hangar module is focused on your ships, of course, while presenting and maintaining that darkish, pirate-esque, or maybe just even rogue, asteroid-like base. What will come in the future and when it will be released, I'm not too sure, but be sure to check out the video in the description link below or on the com link at CIG or robertspaceindustries.com. Also, I forgot to add, for those of you who are following Michael Moreland's Galactic Inquiry, and you should be sure to check it out, as he came out with his latest episode on July 4th as well. In it, he goes over an interview with 15-year-old girl gamer and quite an intelligent young lady, Tuesday Kane. Wes Bell from The Whole Truth appears on as well as other shenanigans and awesomeness from Michael Moreland. If you're not familiar with Galactic Inquiry, it is Michael Moreland's attempt to start a hub, if you will, of Star Citizen community content. While he spearheads the show, he plans to bring together and is bringing together Star Citizen community video makers, podcasters, artwork, etc. Anything that would encompass Star Citizen, he makes sure to spotlight and show. So if you'd like to support Michael Moreland, be sure to check him out on Patreon, and if not, just be sure to give him a subscription and at least check it out. Because remember, this is the man that brought us Wingman's Hangar, and this is our Viewmaster. The final thing I wanted to talk about was power management in Arena Commander. Now, for those of you that have been playing Arena Commander, no doubt you have undoubtedly tried to fiddle with your controls and noticed that, 1, you've either disabled power to your weapons or turned on flares by accident. Some of these button presses may be inadvertent, but one thing's for sure is that if you're using a keyboard, the numpad may become your best friend. The numpad currently controls the power management systems of your ship. Pressing number 7 on your numpad will bring up the left side of your HUD and to put you into the power configuration mode. Once the triangle is blinking, if you press num 5, this will select your power triangle. Use the arrow keys on your number pad, numbers 4, 8, 2, and 6, to align the power how you like it. Grid 1 or G1 is weapons, Grid 2 is avionics, and G3 or Grid 3 is shields. After you've aligned it to the way you want, pressing num9 confirms and locks in your selection. Does this sound awesome? It actually isn't. Doing this in real time takes about 5 to 10 seconds depending on what you want, and unless you've trained it, is actually quite cumbersome to use. If you're watching the above video below, you're going to hear the volume cut in, and you're going to hear how I myself have used a program called Voice Attack, which was shared to me by Birdman, who hopefully you've met in the Arena Commander module, on how to use voice commands to tell your ship what to do so you can avoid those long second delays when trying to fly your ship.
Lock on.
Locking on.
Lock on. Front shields. Evade right.
Attempting to fire.
Jump jets.
Executing.
Power shields. Nearest target.
Targeting nearest hostile.
Evade left.
Evading to port.
Jump jets. Lock on.
Locking on.
Power shields.
Attempting to fire.
Bounce power.
Resetting subsystems. Default
Bounce
power
shields.
Profile.
Reset shields.
Balancing shields.
Lock on.
Locking on. Attempting to fire.
Flare. Nearest target.
Targeting nearest hostile.
Evade left.
Evading to port.
Evade left.
Evading
Lock
to
on.
port. Locking on.
Oh, he just bounced off. Lock on.
Attempting to fire. Locking on.
Jump jets.
Attempting to
Aft shields. Aft shields.
reinforcing back shield.
Power shields. Power to shields.
Transferring power to shield.
Nearest target.
Targeting nearest.
Lock on. Evade left.
Evading to port.
Jump jets.
Attempting to fire. Executing.
Power to shields. Flare. Oh, and then it kicked me out.
As you can see, it's actually a lot easier to use than madly typing away at your numpad and hoping for the best. By taking these longer macros and combining them into a voice command, your efficiency more than doubles if not quintuples with the use of Voice Attack. Now, a quick shout out to Voice Attack. It is not actually part of Star Citizen. If you would like to try Voice Attack, you do need to purchase it as a third-party software from voiceattack.com. There is a trial, but honestly, the program itself is about $8 American, and you really can't go wrong with the functionality of being able to control your ship with nothing but your voice. Be sure to train your computer a few times if you do purchase Voice Attack. If you buy the program and try to use it right off the bat, your computer will have a hard time interpreting your commands. It will need to listen to you to see how you talk, how you enunciate, and how you pronounce words in order to work the most efficiently for you. In short, think of power management like you would macros in any MMO. If you can configure out the correct sequence that you need to shunt more power to your engines, program that macro into Voice Attack and you'll be able to execute that on the fly. For example, you can combine any kind of movement that you would like to. I have a specific command that I've come up with for firing my dorsal and ventral thrusters for about 3 seconds, so I can both evade relative in space, mind you, up and down. This allows for some complex maneuvers where I'm able to keep my guns maintained on the target while still moving and strafing from them. I use an Xbox controller, so this is partly why I've come up with these commands. It still does take an extra few seconds to say the command, but as opposed to madly trying to thumb away on the keyboard and use a controller at the same time, it makes the execution of the maneuver that much easier. You can come up with your own commands, or you can download the table that I have put in my Dropbox below. The link is just under the YouTube video in the description and will be in the forums below. Keep in mind that this table was actually assembled previously by Birdman, and I have to give Birdman proper credit for both introducing me to Voice Attack as well as letting me use his table. I've thrown in a few extra commands as well as customized others that I found were useful for myself, but once you have a grasp on it, be sure to experiment with it, play around with it, add or remove commands that you like or dislike. And if you have any that you'd like to share, be sure to tell Star Citizen FM, and we'll compare voice attack tables and find one that fits one for everyone. As keep in mind, some commands and tables are more effective on certain ships than they are others. And that, my fellow pilots, is all I had planned for this week's episode. Be sure to check me out on Twitch TV at Dr. Hawk at twitchtv.com, and check me out for when I stream and show some of Arena Commander's multiplayer. Hopefully within the upcoming days I'll be able to stream some matches with voice attack for those of you who are still curious and need help setting up your tables. If you'd also like to follow me and subscribe, be sure to click the fuzzy little bird on the lower left hand corner to subscribe, and leave any comments or feedback that you so wish to share in the YouTube's comment section below or on the forums. Finally, I now have a Patreon account where you can support Star Citizen FM and help with Star Citizen FM's production. Even if you don't donate, your support is appreciated just by watching the videos. And if you're worried about being overcharged by Patreon, you can easily set a monthly cap to bar any further charges. Now, I'd like to thank you guys all for tuning in and watching Star Citizen FM. This is Dr. Hawk signing off, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. You all take care and fly safe.